The whispers started as late-night comments and blurry screenshots, but by morning they had turned into a full-blown storm. Erika Kirk was trending for all the wrong reasons, and this time the rumor cut deeper than anything before it. DNA. One word, that set off panic, suspicion, and a family war that no one saw coming. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high. And what unfolded behind closed doors left Charlie's parents furious and unwilling to stay silent. What was supposed to remain buried has clawed its way into the spotlight. And now every relationship connected to Erika hangs by a thread. Sources say the first crack appeared when an anonymous message hit a private family group chat. 3 short lines that changed everything. The test is real. The results are coming. You deserve the truth. Within minutes, phones started ringing. Tempers flared. Accusations flew. And Erika, once calm in the face of online gossip, was suddenly unreachable. Those closest to her say she locked herself in a room for hours, refusing to answer calls as the rumor grew teeth and began to bite. Charlie's parents were the first to confront the storm head-on, and they were not gentle about it. Friends described shouting matches that shook the walls. His mother reportedly slammed her hand on the table and said, "We warned you. We warned all of you that secrets rot families from the inside." His father, usually the quiet one, is said to have walked out mid-argument, telling neighbors that the family had been pushed into a mess they never asked for. The family was left divided before the sun even set. Meanwhile, fans camped out online, dissecting old videos, past interviews, even body language from years ago, as if the truth could be pulled from pixels and pauses. Every smile was questioned. Every silence was treated as guilt. The rumor grew heavier with each hour, and by nightfall, it had reshaped reputations that took years to build. Inside Erika's circle, panic spread. Some urged her to speak. Others begged her to stay quiet. One close friend was overheard saying, "If the test is real, nothing will ever be the same again." Another whispered, "If it is not, this could still destroy her." Either way, the damage was already in motion. What makes this moment explosive is not just the rumor itself, but who is standing on which side of the line. Alliances are cracking. Trust is thinning. Old grievances are rising with new teeth. And at the center of it all stands Erika Kirk, facing a question that has the power to rewrite her story in ways no interview ever could. As the cameras turn, the phones light up, and tempers continue to boil, one thing is certain. This is no ordinary scandal. This is a collision of blood, belief, and betrayal. And the truth, whether spoken or buried, is about to drag every last secret into the open. Erika sat on the edge of her bed with her phone face down on the quilt, as if the screen itself were radioactive. The room felt too quiet for the storm she knew was waiting on the other side of that glass. Outside the window, the evening traffic rolled on as usual, but inside her chest, everything had stalled. Her breathing shallow, her thoughts loud. The message from that anonymous account still burned in her mind. The test is real. The results are coming. You deserve the truth. She had read it over and over until the words lost shape, yet somehow gained more weight with every pass. She whispered to herself that rumors were just rumors, but this one had already reached Charlie's parents, and that was the problem. She could feel it in her bones. The moment secrets escaped the internet and stepped into a family living room, they no longer belonged to anyone. Across town, Charlie's mother stood in her kitchen, gripping the counter so hard her knuckles had turned white. Her phone lay beside her, unlocked on the same message. Tears of anger blurred her vision as she replayed every memory of welcoming Erika into their lives. Every smile, every polite dinner, every time she defended her two skeptical relatives. And now this, a claim that cuts straight into blood and identity. She dialed her husband with shaking fingers. When he answered, she did not bother with greetings. She said only, "Have you seen it?" And the silence on the line told her everything. He had, and it had hit him just as hard. By the time he got home, the air between them was already heavy with unsaid accusations. They sat across from each other at the kitchen table, where years of ordinary family talks had once taken place. Now it felt like a courtroom. She slammed her palm down and asked how this could even be possible. He rubbed his face and said he did not know, but that they needed answers, and they needed them from Erika and from Charlie. Now, at that very moment, while panic had not yet fully turned into rage. Meanwhile, Charlie himself was driving aimlessly, his phone vibrating nonstop on the passenger seat. Messages from friends, from cousins, from people he barely spoke to anymore, all asking the same thing in different words. Is it true? Did you know? What is she hiding? He kept his eyes on the road as if speed could outrun the questions. His chest felt tight, torn between loyalty and doubt. He wanted to believe Erika, He wanted to believe the life they had built together had not been standing on a crack all this time. But the word DNA echoed in his mind like a drumbeat. He pulled into an empty parking lot and finally picked up his phone. There were 20 missed calls from his mother. He let out a slow breath and called her back. The moment she answered, her voice shattered, demanding that he come home, demanding that he explain what was going on, demanding that he stop protecting Erika and start protecting the family. He tried to speak, but she cut him off. "Do not lie to me," she said, and he realized with a sinking feeling that in her mind the verdict had already been written. At Erika's apartment, her closest friend Layla paced across the living room, while Erika remained in the bedroom. Silent and unreachable, Layla had tried knocking, texting, calling, begging her to come out and face what was happening, but Erika would not answer. The online world was exploding. Videos dissecting her past were stacking up by the minute. Fans were shocked, emotions ran high. Comments sections had turned into battlegrounds where strangers argued over a woman they had never met. Some defended her fiercely, others called her everything from a liar to a mastermind, and all of it rolled on without pause. Layla finally pushed the door open and found Erika sitting on the floor with her back against the bed, her eyes red but dry, as if she had cried herself empty. Layla knelt and said, "You cannot hide from this. It is already everywhere." Erika's voice came out thin and strained as she asked if Charlie had called. Layla hesitated before answering the truth, that his parents were furious, that his phone was blowing up, that the family was demanding a meeting. Erika closed her eyes and pressed her head back against the mattress. She whispered that she never wanted it to come out like this, that she thought it would stay buried forever. Layla's heart sank at those words. She leaned closer and asked what exactly was buried. Erika did not answer, only shook her head slowly, as if even speaking the truth might make it more real. Across town, Charlie finally walked into his parents' house. His mother rose from her chair before he even closed the door, her face tight with contained fury. His father stood behind her, arms crossed, jaw set. The room felt colder than the weather outside. They did not invite him to sit. His mother went straight to the point. "Is it true?" she asked. "Is there a DNA test because of something she never told us?" Charlie swallowed and said he had just learned about the rumor like everyone else, that he had no proof, that he needed to talk to Erika before making any assumptions. His father let out a bitter laugh and said that was exactly the problem. Assumptions had already been made for him. His mother began listing every small moment she had once brushed off, every hesitation, every story that now felt suddenly suspicious. She said, "Blood does not lie, and secrets always surface." Charlie raised his voice for the first time and said Erika deserved a chance to explain, that rumors were not verdicts. His mother snapped back that families do not survive on blind faith, they survive on truth. And if Erika had hidden something this big, then she had hidden everything. The argument grew louder, words overlapping, voices cracking, years of trust unraveling in seconds. Neighbors later said they could hear the shouting from the street. Back at Erika's place, her phone finally rang. It was Charlie. It involved people who should never have been pulled into this mess. Charlie's head spun as anger, fear, and heartbreak collided inside his chest. He demanded to know why she had never told him. Erika said, because at the time she was assured it meant nothing, that it was done to settle a rumor that had already been proven false. She said she was young and scared and desperate to move on with her life. But now someone had dug it up and twisted it into a weapon. Charlie paced the empty parking lot where he still stood outside his parents' home, asking who this involved, whose DNA had been tested. Erika hesitated again, and Charlie felt his patience snap. He said if she did not tell him, he would hear it from someone else and it would be worse. Erika finally said his father's name. The word fell between them like shattered glass. Charlie's world seemed to stop moving. He felt sick, confused, furious all at once. He demanded to know what she meant. Erika quickly said it was not what it sounded like. That his father was not her biological anything. That the test had been done because of a false claim years ago by someone seeking money and attention. That the results had proven there was no connection at all. But those results had been sealed and forgotten. Or, so she had believed. Charlie's thoughts raced. If the test proved nothing, then why was it hidden? Why was it suddenly back? Why had his mother not known? Erika said because it was not her place to tell the whole family about a rumor that had already been disproved. She said she had been advised legally to stay silent. Charlie clenched his jaw as he realized how impossible this would sound to his parents now. Proof or no proof, the mere existence of such a test was enough to poison trust. He told Erika that his parents were already tearing her apart. That his mother felt betrayed and humiliated. That his father was furious and confused. Erika whispered that she was sorry. that she never wanted to hurt them, that she loved Charlie and had only wanted a clean future. But secrets have a way of outliving intentions. Charlie hung up without another word and stood there staring into the dark, knowing that whatever happened next would change everything. Inside his parents' house, his mother paced like a caged storm. His father had retreated into silence, eyes fixed on nothing. When Charlie walked back in, his face told them enough. His mother demanded to know what Erika had said. He hesitated, and that hesitation alone was enough to confirm her worst fears. She sank into a chair as if the strength had been pulled from her bones, whispering that she had known something was wrong from the beginning. His father looked up sharply, asking what exactly Erika had admitted. Charlie struggled to form the words, aware that each sentence was a match hovering over gasoline, and as he began to speak, the family crossed a point of no return. A truth once buried, now forced into the open, setting the stage for a war that would not stay contained inside four walls. And as night fell on a house divided and a woman cornered by her past, the ripple of that single rumor continued to spread outward, pulling in everyone who had ever trusted any part of the story. Charlie's voice shook as he finished repeating Erika's words to his parents, the air in the room thick with disbelief and accusation. His mother pressed both hands to her chest as if trying to steady a heart that now beat too fast. Your father, she repeated in a hollow tone. You are saying my husband's name was dragged into this? Charlie quickly said that Erika insisted the test proved nothing, that it was done because of a false claim long ago, but his words barely landed. His father stood up so abruptly the chair scraped loudly across the floor. His face flushed with anger and humiliation. He demanded to know who had made such a claim, what proof had even existed to justify a test, and why none of this had ever been shared with his own wife. The room erupted into overlapping voices. Charlie tried to calm them, saying the results were negative, that there was no biological connection, but his mother cut him off sharply, saying that truth delayed was truth denied, and that keeping such a secret was no small thing. Meanwhile, Erika sat curled on the floor of her bedroom long after the call had ended. The quiet, now louder than any argument. She replayed Charlie's stunned silence again and again in her mind, knowing that she had finally crossed into the part of the story where forgiveness was no longer guaranteed. Layla sat beside her, phone in hand, reading the stream of messages that kept pouring in. Some from curious reporters fishing for comment, others from fans swinging between outrage and sympathy. One message from a former acquaintance made Erika's blood run cold. It read simply, "They are not going to let this die. You know that." Erika closed her eyes. She did know, because she knew who had started the rumor in the first place. A man from her past who had once tried to force his way into her life with threats and lies. When she had refused him, he had sworn that he would ruin her in whatever way he could. Years had passed. She had built a new life, and she had believed she was safe. Now his shadow had returned at the worst possible moment. Across the city, that same man watched the online chaos with a faint smile. He scrolled through trending posts, anonymous comments, slow spreading doubt, and felt a satisfaction he had waited a long time to feel. He had leaked the existence of the test, knowing full well that no one would care about the negative result. The accusation alone was enough to fracture trust. Back at Charlie's parents' house, his mother sat silently now, staring at a family photo on the wall. Erika stood in that photo, smiling beside Charlie at a holiday gathering. The memory of that day burned. She remembered, embracing her warmly, calling her daughter. And now the image felt like a cruel joke. She turned to her husband and asked, in a low trembling voice, if he had ever known about any of this. His father swore that he had not, that he had only ever heard of a vague rumor years ago which had been dismissed as nonsense, that the test had been demanded by someone seeking leverage, not by him, and that the result had cleared his name completely. His wife listened with eyes narrowed by hurt, then asked why she herself had never been informed. He had no answer that could satisfy her. Charlie watched the marriage of his parents strain under a weight that had never belonged to it, and knew that Erika's silence had now cost more than just her own peace. Later that night, Charlie drove to Erika's apartment despite the storm of objections from his mother. He needed to see her face when she spoke, needed to hear the full truth without the echo of his parents' rage in his ears. When he arrived, Layla opened the door quietly, her eyes tired from hours of panic. Erika stood behind her, pale and rigid, as if holding herself together by force alone. Charlie stepped inside, and for a moment, none of them spoke. The room carried the tension of everything left unsaid. He finally told Layla to give them a few minutes alone. She hesitated but obeyed, retreating into the kitchen. Charlie looked at Erika and said he wanted the whole story from the beginning. No guarding, no legal advice, no half-truths, just what really happened. Erika nodded slowly and began to speak, her voice steady but fragile. She told him about a brief relationship years earlier with a man who later tried to extort her, who claimed she was carrying a child tied to a powerful family line. She said that claim was false, that the timing alone made it impossible. But his threats grew louder, his accusations more public, and eventually, lawyers had insisted on a DNA test to end the matter once and for all. She told him how the test had been done quietly, how the results had proven there was no biological link to his father or anyone in his family, how confidentiality agreements had been signed, and how she had been told to move on and never look back. Erika's eyes filled with tears as she confessed that she had followed that advice to the letter, believing that silence was the safest option for everyone. Charlie listened in silence, his emotions twisting between relief at the negative result and anger at being kept in the dark. He asked why she had never told him, even after they had grown serious. Even after marriage discussions had begun, Erika said she had been afraid that even disproven rumors could destroy trust. She said she wanted him to love her without the stain of something that had never been real. Charlie ran a hand through his hair, the weight of it all settling heavily on his shoulders. He told her that hiding it had only made the eventual impact worse, that his parents now felt ambushed not only by a rumor but by the knowledge that the woman they welcomed into their family had kept part of her past locked away. Erika whispered that she knew that she would give anything to rewind time and make a different choice, but now there was only damage. Her hands trembling as he squeezed them for a brief moment before they walked inside. His parents stood facing them, his mother's eyes hard with restrained tears, his father's expression guarded and weary. Erika spoke first, her voice quiet but firm. She said she understood their anger, their confusion, their sense of betrayal, and that she had come to answer every question they had. His mother asked, the one that mattered most, "Did you ever believe there was any truth to this claim?" Erika answered without hesitation, "No, never, not for a single moment." She said the test had been demanded by a man with a grudge, not by any member of the family. His father confirmed this with a stiff nod, admitting that he had cooperated only to end the harassment and protect the family name. The room fell silent as the truth took shape in pieces. His mother then asked the question that had been simmering under all the fury. Why had she never been told? Erika's voice broke as she said she had been advised to let the matter die quietly, that speaking of it again would only resurrect a lie that had already been disproven. She said she had been trying to protect not just herself but the family she hoped to become part of. His mother shook her head slowly, tears spilling free now, saying that protection built on secrecy was not protection at all. It was isolation. The conversation stretched for hours, every small detail dissected, every memory re-examined under a harsh new light. Outside fans and reporters speculated wildly, some declaring Erika manipulative, others insisting she was a victim of an old vendetta. The family was left divided in public opinion long before they had even repaired the private fractures inside. As evening fell, the meeting ended without a clear sense of resolution. His parents agreed that more proof was needed, official documents, legal confirmations, anything that could silence the noise. Erika promised to obtain everything she could, though she knew that even paperwork might not erase doubt seated in emotion. When she and Charlie left the house, his mother did not hug her goodbye. She only said that trust once cracked never returned to its original shape. Those words followed Erika all the way back to the car, sitting heavy in her chest like a sentence with no end. And as they drove away, the cameras followed, capturing the image of a couple bound together in uncertainty, moving forward into a storm that had only just begun to gather its full force. The following days unfolded like a high-stakes drama written for television, except it was very real and every word carried consequences. Erika spent hours compiling documents, emails, lawyer statements, and the original DNA results, each piece meticulously scanned, labeled, and stored in a folder that felt like a shield against the chaos outside. Charlie tried to keep the household calm, speaking to his parents multiple times, attempting to explain Erika's intentions, the timing, the legal advice, but each conversation seemed to fan the flames rather than douse them. His mother remained unconvinced, saying that even a well-intentioned secret was still a betrayal. Every time Charlie tried to reason, she countered with emotion, telling him that families survive on transparency, not carefully curated truths. Erika meanwhile became a target online. Social media exploded with opinions that ranged from sympathetic to vicious. Fan pages split. Heated comment threads debated the legitimacy of her story. Screenshots from old interviews were pulled up and analyzed for subtle hints. Body language scrutinized. Tweets were taken out of context. and the rumor's shadow grew longer by the hour. Layla stayed by her side, offering quiet reassurance, reminding her that the DNA test proved nothing, that evidence was in their favor. Yet even with all proof, Erika could feel the weight of public judgment pressing down. She knew perception often outweighed reality in these situations. During this storm, Charlie's father decided to take a step that surprised everyone. He arranged a private meeting with Erika to discuss the matter face away from the media and the prying eyes of the internet. In a quiet office lined with books and family photos, he sat down opposite her, the air thick with tension, and said simply, "Erika, I need to understand everything. No filters, no omissions." The gravity of the situation hung between them like a storm cloud. Erika explained once more, starting from the very beginning, recounting the encounter with the man from her past, the false claim, the legal advice to proceed quietly, the negative test results, and her belief that silence would protect everyone. Her words were calm, but her hands shook slightly, the human vulnerability behind the carefully composed narrative evident. His father listened silently, occasionally nodding, occasionally narrowing his eyes, not with anger, but with deep contemplation. After she finished, he leaned back and exhaled, saying, "This is complicated, but it is clear that you were trying to prevent harm, not create it." His measured tone contrasted sharply with the prior emotional storms. Charlie, who had been observing from the doorway, felt a flicker of relief, yet knew that nothing outside this room would slow the ripple of speculation. They left the meeting with tentative understanding, but the world outside had no patience for nuance. Social media accounts speculated, reporters called for statements, and fan pages posted polls asking whether Erika was trustworthy or manipulative. Everywhere Erika looked, her story had been twisted into multiple versions, each more dramatic than the last. One particularly viral post claimed that Charlie's parents had been kept in the dark to hide a shocking family secret. Another claimed that Erika had masterminded a years-long cover-up. Both claims were false, yet they gained traction. Erika read the posts and felt a mixture of frustration and exhaustion. She knew the truth was simple. The test existed, it proved nothing. She had followed advice to keep quiet, but perception had already overrun reality. In response, Charlie decided to address the situation publicly. He released a statement on social media clarifying the facts, confirming that the DNA test existed only because of a false claim, that the results cleared all family members, and that Erika had acted under legal guidance and with honest intentions. The statement caused a momentary pause in the online frenzy. Some fans softened, acknowledging that rumors are dangerous, but the skepticism remained. A backlash against perceived secrecy lingered. His mother, watching from her living room, finally nodded, saying that at least the public could see some clarity. Yet she remained firm on one point. Trust needed rebuilding. Erika took that to heart. She arranged one-on-one meetings with both of Charlie's parents, patiently answering questions, providing documents, and giving them every reassurance she could offer. Each session lasted hours, emotionally taxing, yet slowly chipped away at the suspicion. At home, the couple also faced internal strain. The pressure had seeped into their private life. Sleepless nights, tense breath, and cautious conversations replaced the easy laughter they had once shared. Erika often found herself staring at her phone, dreading the next viral post, the next comment, the next rumor, knowing that each would test her resolve. Yet she also knew that transparency and patience were her only paths forward. Outside, the media frenzy did not relent. Talk shows invited experts to discuss the psychological impact of DNA rumors. Headline articles dissected the situation with dramatic flair, and fans debated endlessly, sometimes cruelly. The very existence of a rumor, despite the evidence, had become a story more powerful than the truth. Charlie remained her anchor, offering support, defending her to friends and family, and reminding her that truth was on their side. Together they navigated the minefield, each day a negotiation between public perception and private reality. Charlie's parents gradually softened as documents were reviewed, legal statements verified, and Erika's calm persistence proved genuine. Trust was tentative but emerging. In the midst of it all, a new twist arrived. The man who had originally leaked the rumor resurfaced online, attempting to manipulate the narrative again. He posted a video claiming Erika had been deceitful, editing it to look as if she had admitted wrongdoing. The clip went viral, reigniting public debate. Erika felt her stomach twist at the sight, but she refused to engage directly. Instead, she coordinated with lawyers to issue a formal rebuttal and take down the manipulated content. Charlie supported every move, his patience and loyalty unwavering despite the renewed stress. Slowly, the tide began to shift. People who had jumped to conclusions faced evidence that contradicted the false narrative. Some apologized, others quietly left the conversation, and Erika, exhausted but resolute, realized that although the rumor had tested her relationships and public image, she had survived the first wave. Yet the story was far from over, and the next chapter awaited, brimming with tension, emotion, and the possibility of either reconciliation or further heartbreak. The days following the public clarifications felt like walking a tightrope for Erika. Each moment remained cautious, their trust fractured even if the evidence was in her favor. They attended sessions with family mediators, exploring the emotional impact of secrecy and rumor. Erika answered each question honestly, sometimes pausing to steady her voice. Her past mistakes not in action but in judgment, in thinking silence could be protection. During this period, Erika also faced the court of public opinion. Influencers and social media personalities debated the story endlessly. Videos went viral analyzing her expressions, some claiming subtle admissions of guilt, others defending her integrity. The false narrative of deceit persisted online, and Erika, normally resilient, found herself exhausted from defending a truth that should have spoken for itself. One evening she sat with Layla, scrolling through a thread where fans were dissecting her every move. One comment read, "She knew the DNA test existed and hid it from everyone. How can anyone trust that?" Erika felt her stomach twist. She whispered, "Truth is not always enough." Layla nodded, reminding her that evidence, patience, and consistency were the only shields against a storm that thrives on speculation. Meanwhile, Charlie had conversations with his parents that were equal parts emotional and strategic. His father, usually stoic, admitted quietly that although legally everything had cleared, emotionally, the secrecy had left a mark. His mother confessed that forgiveness would take time, that trust was fragile and could not be rushed. Erika understood. She spent hours crafting letters, providing records, and coordinating with legal teams to ensure the truth was indisputable. In private moments, she and Charlie talked about the fragility of public image, how quickly it could be torn down, and how easily good intentions could be misconstrued. They developed a plan to slowly reintroduce her presence in family spaces, public events, and social media appearances, aiming to rebuild credibility without fanfare. Their efforts were interrupted when a new twist arrived from the original source of the rumor. The man who had threatened her years ago resurfaced online, this time claiming insider knowledge that Erika was manipulating everyone, creating an elaborate cover-up. The clip went viral almost instantly. Comments surged, and the story threatened to spiral again. Charlie and Erika refused to engage directly, instead coordinating with legal advisors to issue corrections, remove false content, and prepare official statements. The fight became both public and private, a battle for reputation and for sanity. Erika leaned on Charlie for support, each hug and reassurance a tether to reality amidst the chaos. Slowly, verification from official channels began to filter into the public sphere. News outlets ran pieces clarifying that the DNA test had proven nothing, that legal and medical documentation confirmed the original claim was false, and that Erika had acted under professional advice to maintain discretion. Fan communities responded variably, some apologizing, others reluctant to acknowledge the truth. Yet the momentum of factual information gradually began to outweigh the sensationalism. Within the family, small victories emerged. Charlie's parents began to meet privately with Erika, discussing her perspective, reviewing documents, and understanding her choices. Emotional walls started to lower. Tentative trust began to reemerge. One night, Erika reflected on the ordeal with Layla, admitting that while the tests had been cleared and the rumor debunked, the psychological weight of being vilified had left scars. Layla reminded her that resilience was not measured by public perception, but by the strength to withstand the storm and maintain integrity. Days turned into weeks, and Erika's consistent transparency began to rebuild bridges. Social media chatter subsided slightly, family relationships slowly stabilized, and Erika, though weary, felt a cautious optimism. Charlie remained steadfast, supporting every move, advocating for her publicly and privately, and reminding her that perception would take longer to align with reality than she wished. Yet patience, evidence, and consistency were winning slowly, and the first wave of the crisis, though exhausting, had passed, leaving Erika stronger, more cautious, but ready to face whatever the next chapter might hold. The following week brought a mixture of relief and tension. Erika had finally begun to feel a fragile sense of control over the narrative. Yet the shadow of the DNA rumor lingered like a low hum. Charlie and Erika worked closely to navigate both family dynamics and public perception. Each day, a careful choreography of statements, private discussions, and strategic social media presence. At home, Charlie's parents continued to test the waters. Small gestures of reconciliation began to appear. A nod, a brief conversation, a shared meal without tension, each step measured, each smile tentative. Erika understood that rebuilding trust would take far longer than clearing legal or medical records. She dedicated herself to transparency, presenting every piece of documentation, answering questions patiently, and acknowledging the fear and hurt caused by the secrecy. At the same time, online spaces were still active with debate. Some outlets praised her honesty, others insinuated lingering deception. The man who had originally leaked the rumor had been temporarily silenced by legal intervention, but his influence lingered through sensationalized commentary and anonymous accounts. Erika spent hours preparing statements with her legal team, aiming to provide clarity without fueling further speculation. Charlie supported her at every step, accompanying her to meetings with family members, standing beside her during media interactions, and reinforcing her narrative. Slowly, the tide began to shift. Evidence and consistent messaging outweighed gossip. Family discussions became less confrontational. Charlie's mother began to express understanding, albeit cautiously. She acknowledged Erika's efforts to be transparent and said she could see that no harm was intended. Erika felt a tentative relief, but knew the journey was far from over. Charlie's father remained reserved, still measuring each interaction, but he engaged more, asking questions that reflected curiosity rather than accusation. These small interactions laid the groundwork for eventual reconciliation. During this period, Erika also began to rebuild her online presence carefully. She posted content that reflected her personality and values, humanizing herself to fans, emphasizing authenticity and truth. Engagement was measured, responses professional yet warm, as she slowly regained control over her public image. She and Charlie reflected privately on the ordeal, acknowledging the strain it had placed on their relationship, discussing ways to protect themselves from future attacks, establishing clearer communication, and reinforcing trust between them. Outside observers noted the gradual shift in sentiment. Fan communities began to discuss her honesty, some apologizing for jumping to conclusions, and others moderating their discourse. The momentum of truth, though slow, was taking hold. Amidst this, Charlie's parents invited Erika to a family gathering, a small, carefully planned event to assess progress. Tensions were palpable as she entered, yet she greeted everyone politely, answering questions with honesty, acknowledging past missteps, and demonstrating commitment to transparency. The interactions, though cautious, were civil. Small gestures of acceptance began to appear, a nod here, a soft word there. Erika recognized the significance, knowing that each small step mattered more than immediate perfection. During this time, the media remained watchful but less aggressive, recognizing that the story had reached a point where facts dominated speculation. Erika and Charlie continued to monitor online discourse, responding where necessary, correcting misinformation, and maintaining a composed presence. Each day was an exercise in patience, communication, and strategic transparency. Gradually, Erika began to reclaim her sense of self, understanding that the ordeal had tested her resilience, patience, and ability to navigate complex social and familial dynamics. She reflected on the lessons learned, the importance of honesty, timing, and the fragile balance between privacy and transparency. As weeks turned into a month, the intensity of the rumor faded. Replaced by a cautious stability, family interactions became less strained. Charlie's parents began to engage more naturally. Conversations flowed with less tension, and mutual respect started to re-emerge. Erika continued to maintain careful communication, demonstrating consistency, patience, and willingness to rebuild trust. Slowly but steadily, the fabric of the family and her public image began to repair, though she remained vigilant, aware that public perception could shift at any moment. The experience strengthened her bond with Charlie, teaching both the value of open communication, resilience under scrutiny, and the importance of facing challenges together. Through careful navigation, patience, and persistent honesty, Erika began to reclaim control over her life, reputation, and relationships, laying the groundwork for eventual restoration of trust, credibility, and peace of mind. Even as the memory of the DNA rumor lingered as a reminder of the fragility of perception and the power of speculation. As the weeks continued, Erika and Charlie found themselves navigating a delicate balance between personal misinterpretation. She knew the smallest slip could reignite speculation. Charlie supported her unwaveringly, accompanying her to meetings with family members, helping her draft public statements, and acting as a buffer against the constant barrage of social media commentary. Inside the household, Charlie's parents gradually allowed more open dialogue. Their questions, once sharp and accusatory, softened into curiosity and tentative understanding. They began to see Erika's consistent honesty and deliberate transparency as evidence that no harm had been intended. Each acknowledgement, each small gesture of acceptance, reinforced the slow rebuilding of trust. During this period, the original source of the rumor attempted minor provocations online, posting insinuations and ambiguous claims, but Erika, with legal guidance, refrained from direct confrontation, instead focusing on documented evidence and consistent messaging. Gradually, the public perception began to shift. Discussions in fan communities became more measured, acknowledging the factual corrections, recognizing Erika's integrity, and debating the dangers of rumor versus verified information. Within this environment, Charlie and Erika also focused on their personal relationship, discussing openly the strain the events had placed on them, the importance of transparency, and strategies for maintaining unity in the face of ongoing scrutiny. These conversations, though sometimes difficult, strengthened their bond, building resilience and mutual understanding. Erika also dedicated time to her mental and emotional health, practicing mindfulness, journaling her experiences, and relying on close friends like Layla for support. The process of rebuilding trust required patience, consistency, and active engagement, both with family and the public. One afternoon, Charlie's mother invited Erika to join a small family dinner, a tentative gesture that symbolized an incremental step toward reconciliation. Erika arrived with care, observing the subtle cues, responding to questions with honesty, and demonstrating her commitment to openness. The evening unfolded with cautious warmth, small smiles, shared laughter, and acknowledgement of past misunderstandings. Each interaction chipped away at the lingering tension. As months passed, the initial storm of rumor faded further from public attention, replaced by discussions of her resilience, transparency, and the impact of social media speculation on personal lives. Erika and Charlie, having navigated the turbulence together, emerged with a strengthened partnership, the experience deepening their understanding of trust, communication, and the importance of facing challenges united. Family bonds, though tested, began to heal, with both parents expressing appreciation for Erika's honesty and effort to maintain integrity. The couple continued to monitor online discourse, ensuring that any remaining misinformation was addressed, reinforcing a narrative grounded in fact, compassion, and accountability. The journey had been arduous, but through persistence, careful management, and mutual support, Erika began to reclaim her life, reputation, and the fragile sense of peace disrupted by the DNA rumor. As stability returned, they reflected on the lessons learned, the importance of transparency, resilience under scrutiny, and the delicate balance between privacy and public perception. While the memory of the rumor remained, it served as a reminder of the power of speculation and the strength required to withstand it. Ultimately, Erika, Charlie, and the family moved forward, cautiously optimistic, rebuilding trust, restoring credibility, and preparing for the next chapter of their lives with renewed awareness and commitment. And there you have it, the full story of Erika Kirk, Charlie, and the whirlwind of DNA rumors that shook their world. Now it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think about how Erika handled everything? Was she justified in keeping the test results private? Or should she have shared them sooner with Charlie and his family? Do you believe the family will fully rebuild trust, or has the damage been done permanently? We want to hear your thoughts, your theories, your opinions on every twist and turn. Comment below with exactly what you think. Smash that like button if you stayed with us through all the drama. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a breaking story or shocking revelation. And remember, every rumor has a story, but the truth is always worth exploring. Stay tuned for more jaw-dropping updates, exclusive insider details, and everything you never knew about your favorite personalities. So don't just watch, get involved, because this is your front row seat to the drama as it unfolds. And we promise there's more to come.